Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Super random. Da 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 da. Okay. Hello. Number one. What's the quality of the streaming? Can you see me? Is it is it all choppy? Can you hear me? How's everything? How's everything, you guys? It's always in the beginning where you have to like check the quality of everything. Um, so it would be great to if you tell me on the chat, hey, everything's fine, Pablo. No worries, Pablo. It's all good. Excellent. Oh, Sandeep. Also, by the way, where are you coming from? Where are you visiting? What's going on? Do you like the music? It's bossa nova. Da, 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 da. Okay, great. Um, awesome. So, okay, I'm gonna fade out to this. So, I wanted to um, let me transition back to me. I wanted to show you an app that I've been using. Well, I've been using for for the longest time. It's called Hype 3. Uh, mejor algo de cumbia. A little bit of cumbia. Great. France, California, San Francisco. That's great. Algeria. Damn, man, all over the place. Okay, so I wanted to show you an app that I've been using for a long time called Hype 3. And to be honest, I don't see anyone talking about this app, and it's kind of a shame because it's great. It's an amazing app, and sometimes when I use it, I feel like it's my dirty little secret that only I know about. And it's a really cool app for creating interactive apps with a graphic interface. Um, and I just made an app recently. I decided to create a really simple dumb app. By the way, I'm going to turn off this music. It's kind of annoying. Uh, and 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 I made it with this thing called Hype. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know the capabilities of this app. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of designers like me will appreciate knowing that this app exists and all the things that it can do. Probably or probably you already knew about the app, but didn't see anyone using it. So you were like, well, I suppose it's not that good. And actually, it's amazing. So let me show you first. Like, I'm going to humble brag about the app that I made. I just released it recently, and I'm going to hold on. Let me switch so you can see also the screen. Uh, and okay, let me put it here. And all right, let me turn up the volume so we can hear it because it has volume, by the way. And it's called Nama Sketch. You can go see it. It's a little app that I just launched. And you can see it's just a web app. It's kind of like fluid or responsive. I don't know what you call that. And then has buttons and everything. And the cool thing too is that it has sound. So let me turn up the volume so you can see what's up. Okay, ready for this? And it has animations. All of these things I did them in little. Let's begin with but downward facing dog. Put your hands and feet flat on the floor. Anyway, let me turn off the volume there. But you can see that it has interactive stuff. It has animations that stuff that I can animate. For example, that I can continue. and I can tap to go to the next one. Animations and all of this, I have like navigation. All of this works on mobile and also on the web. All of this is HTML5. And again, all of this, I made it with one app. All the interactions, everything here, well, I mean, the images obviously use Photoshop and some of the stuff I did it on Sketch, but the interactions and everything, I put it together with this little app called Hype. And I think you're gonna appreciate this app. So, okay, let me close it. If you want to see it, it's namasketch.com. I'm going to add a link right there, namasketch.com. If you want to see the capabilities, PS namasketch.com. Sorry about that. There you go. So, so today I'm going to show you. Let me just see. Are you seeing? Okay. Yeah. So these are the things that we're going to be able to see today. I just want to give a quick demo, quick intro of Hype, where we're going to be seeing adding basic elements, importing SVG files from, from Sketch, but you can import SVG files from anywhere. You can import, and not only SVG files, you can import movies, you can import images, GIFs, as you were able to see, sounds, anything. You can add interactions, like buttons and stuff. You can make anything a button. You can create animations. It has a really cool, fully featured animation timeline. We're going to create multiple timelines too. That's another really cool thing that it has. Also, we're going to play with fluid layout, pinning stuff, then adding symbols, adding scenes, and also not only symbols, but persistent symbols too. Persistent symbols. And you're going to learn in a little bit what that means. Persistent symbols, adding scenes, responsive breakpoints, adding CSS, a lot of stuff. We're going to go through a lot of stuff. This is a huge live stream, okay? So hopefully you appreciate that. All these things that you're seeing here, you can make them with this app. So over here, let's just start with just like, I created this really quickly, like 30 minutes ago, just to show you, to demo the stuff that you can do. So as you can see, I have text layers. I have what looks like buttons, some other buttons. Right now, these buttons are going to be like buttons that are pinned, and then a logo, super logo I put there, and then a bar that extends from left to right. And all of these things here, the elements on this screen have a purpose for me to show you a demo. So this is Sketch. This is, by the way, if you didn't notice, this is just a sketch. Usually I will make the design first on Sketch and then I will put everything on Hype. But you can actually just design everything on Hype too, because you have everything. Okay, just to stop talking about Hype and just show us Hype, I'm pretty sure you're thinking. And this is Hype. This is Hype 3. You can download it if you go to, let me just show you the website. The website is, you can Google it and you can find it, but it's tumult.com/hype. And I would recommend getting the Pro version. There's Hype 3, this one, and then there's Hype Pro. I recommend getting the Pro version because it has a dark UI and it has a lot of shit that seriously, it's well worth it. And I'm pretty sure they have a free trial, so if you want to try it out, you should try it out and see how cool it is. Yes. Okay, cool. So I'm going to be sometimes pausing just to read the chat, and I'm a sketch of. So people are asking if you would compare it to Flinto. Let me just put it here. I would compare it to Flinto in the way that, yes, you can create interactions, but hear me out. This is not only prototyping. What you release from this, you can export it to HTML5. You can put it on a browser. You can host it somewhere, and it can be a website. This is not only for prototyping. This is actual production. Okay. Disclaimers. It doesn't give you the best code. It doesn't give you the prettiest code. It's not going to, if you actually, I don't know, open the source of the files and everything, it's going to look not that pretty. But You can put it on the web, and if it's something that you just want to create something without code, without an engineer, just by yourself, you a designer, a creator, this tool will allow you to do that. It's not just a prototype, it's also a production thing. So that's what makes it really powerful. Oh my God. Getting too excited here. Okay, and yeah, the code can be polished, I guess. And okay, cool. So let's just start with the first thing. So let me go back to my curriculum to show you the things that we're going to see today. So the first thing is just basic elements. So here on Hype, you're going to see that, let me show you first the interface. It's pretty similar to other Mac apps, and actually pretty similar if you see it as to a Sketch or to Keynote, where it has the toolbar on the top, different toolbars, and you can customize it too. Customize the toolbar. There are not a lot of tools, to be honest. I tend to just keep it the same, but you will see that this is pretty similar to Sketch if you're already using Sketch. Then here on the right, you can open and close these panels. The panels here, this one is like your inspector, pretty similar to what you will find in Sketch, but you have multiple tabs here. You can control everything about your document here, everything about the scene. The scene is like the artboard, what you're seeing over here. They call them scenes. And then also metrics for every element that you add. This will be very similar to what you will see on Sketch, like your inspector. And then also here, also the element, like actually, let's add a rectangle. See here on the elements, let's add a rectangle so we can actually see what's going on. So we have a rectangle, let's align it to the center. And then you will see you have color, you have border, you have shadows, you have effects, different filters that you can apply, like blurring and sepia and saturation, a lot of crap that you will probably never use, but it's still there. Even reflection, look at that. Something that I compare this app to, it's kind of a combination of, number one, a Sketch, Flash. If you ever use Flash, you will find a lot of the things that you do here very similar to Flash, like Macromedia Flash. Yes, Macromedia. Those were the original ones that own Flash before Adobe. And Flash doesn't even exist anymore, right? It's called Animate or something. Anyway, it's pretty similar to Flash and also pretty similar to Keynote. You're going to do like Keynote? Yes, to Keynote. Because like even this thing, the reflection thing, is something you will find on Keynote. But also here on the left, you see this thing? You can add multiple scenes. But these scenes are pretty much just like on Keynote what slides are. So you can add slides, different slides. They call them scenes. But if you're coming from Keynote, Keynote user, you will probably call these slides. Anyway, so the scenes, and this is kind of a canvas, like on kind of a canvas, but you see this as an artboard. You cannot add multiple artboards to a scene. It's just one. That's it. This is like a web page. This is one page on your whole site. Okay, cool. So, and anyway, typography. If right now this is on, but obviously I have a square, so this is not a type. I cannot edit anything from typography. But if it was a text layer, you will be able to edit it here. And then this is the cool part, my friends. This is the cool part. Actions. You can add actions and all of these things. Mouse click, mouse down, mouse up, mouse over, mouse out, drag, yes, drag, enter viewport, a lot of cool stuff. And then, for example, here, if I were to add mouse click, you can add multiple actions. We're going to get into the details of this later. I'm going to Command C, but you have it there. And also, really fun, physics, baby. You can play with physics. Like anything can have physics. And we're gonna get into that too later. But just how's your mind right now? Is it exploding already? And also resources. So over here, this is empty, but anything that you import to your project, you will see it here, which is pretty useful because if you import an image, a sound, or anything, for example, an image that you import from Sketch, an SVG, and then later you update that SVG, it will update here too. It will say like, hey, apparently your file that you imported to this file has been updated outside, so do you want to update it? And it will update. So that's pretty cool that has a resources window. Okay, let's add. Those are the basics about the everything. Let me just go back to the. Anyway, can I save this for later? Yeah. By the way, all of this has been recorded, so you're going to be able to see it later. But if you leave right now, stop talking to me. Okay. Stop talking to me. Okay. Cool. So okay, sorry. Okay, cool. So that's it. Now, basic elements. I was telling you, you can add here from the elements, you can add text, you can add buttons. When you add a button, actually, these buttons, let me zoom in. These buttons have the normal state, hover state, and pressed state. So, for example, a hover state, let's say that we change the color to, I don't know, a little bit darker. And then let's say that on press, no, actually, hover state should be a little bit lighter. And on press state, probably a little bit darker. Now let's preview it. And here's the kicker. When you preview it on the browser, baby. On the browser. So let's preview it. And let's open it over here. And there you go. We have a button with a hover state and a press state. How easy is that, baby? It's pretty cool. So that's their buttons that they create, but you're going to be like, well, my buttons, I want them to have a gradient and I want them to look like, I don't know, multiple things. You can do that and you can actually use any image with a texture button. With a texture button, you can actually add gradients, you can add an image, you can add colors, anything. You can create anything like an icon, and like this SVG, you can turn it into a button with this thing. And we're going to do that later. But anyway, that's the texture button. That's the difference between a button and a texture. But texture button allows you to use an image. Image, videos, yes, videos, audios, HTML widgets, which is pretty useful if you want to import something like a tweet button, a SoundCloud, or a YouTube video or something. You can use the HTML widget, and obviously rectangles, rounded rectangles, and circles, ellipses. That's it. Circles. Let's see. There you go. You add the circle, and then you can change the color of it. You can add shadows. Where are the shadows? Here are the shadows. Let's put a little bit of blur, too much shadow. Let's remove the border, and let's move my shadow a little bit like this. And probably the opacity of it could be a little bit lighter. There you go. Look at that. So there you go. Pretty similar to any other design tool that you already use. A lot of those things that you're already familiar with other design tools, you will find them here too. For basic element, for any element, you can apply these kind of effects. Okay, cool. So that's the basic elements. That's the thing about basic elements. Now, importing SVG files from Sketch. Now, I'm not asking you to, I wouldn't say that you should design everything on Hype. I will say, like I was telling you, start designing anything on Sketch. At least that's my process. Anything I will design it on Sketch. And then if I want to prototype it or if I want to create something on Hype, then I would export my elements to SVG or to PNG or whatever. So for example, I have these buttons that I want to use, these little things, and I want to use them over there, so I can just export them. So I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to make them exportable. I'm going to export them instead to PNG. I'm going to export them to SVG. That way, they're vector, and that thing allows you to use SVG and it allows you to use vector. So I'm just going to export this. I already created a folder. By the way, I added a link to this folder. So everything that we're creating right now, that Dropbox link is going to be updated to all of the things that we're going to be using. So you can download it right now, but it's a link to this folder. Anyway, there you go. So now I exported everything there and I go back over here. I'm going to delete all of this stuff. And I'm going to go to my Finder. And here on my Finder, I'm going to go to Hype Demo. Yo. And I'm just going to drag these. I'm going to drag them over here. And now I can start using them. So I can go and say, these two icons, I'm going to just put them in here. As you can see, they are vector, which is pretty cool. So let me just zoom in so you can see that all of this is vector, baby. Oh yeah, look at that. No pixels. No pixels. Okay, cool. So I have my buttons. Something that I wish that they had is the spacing. I wish I was able to see the spacing between the elements by pressing Alt. That's something that I wish that I'm always missing from any design tool. I'm always missing that thing that Sketch has, where from here I would like to see the distance from this element to this element. That you will not find that here. Anyway, okay, cool. So I have those two elements. I can obviously, if I wanted to be very precise, number one, I have to probably set my document, my scene to be the same size as my design. So over here, this is an iPad size, 1024 by 768. So I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to be 1024, and actually there are some iPad landscape. I'm just going to use that template. There you go. Just going to move my elements over here, just so I have the same proportions. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Something that is kind of annoying or not? What's going on? Are these 28 pixels? No, it should be 40 pixels. Apparently, they didn't export since they're SVG that well, so I just have to resize them to 40 pixels. Okay, there you go. Now that they're resized to 40 pixels, I'm going to do the same with the camera button. There you go. This should be... Oh, you know what's going on? I didn't export it with slices. Ah, idiot. But it's okay. No worries. You're going to see why. No worries, my friends. We just put it here, and then over here, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to actually turn these into slices over here. This should have been slices, and all these should be 40 pixels, 40 by 40, 40 by 40. Over here on Sketch, let me just align them so they're perfect. So this should be center and center, center and center. There you go. Let's see, 40, 40. No, 40, dude. Why 42? What are you doing? I'm sorry. Technical difficulties, my friends. It always happens. It's part of our job, right? You got to fix those pixels. You got to come back and fix those pixels. Okay, cool. I think we are ready to export again. Now that we export them, now we have that really nice white space. Apparently, they're not perfectly aligned. There you go. Okay, so now I can export these, and now we'll have that little white space. And apparently, I didn't have it when I exported it first because I wasn't exporting as slices. Very important when you're exporting icons. This is a good practice. Export them with slices, not just the icon. Okay, going to export them. I'm going to replace the files. And then over here on Hype, hey, there was an update to your SVG files. I told you, this is really cool. Cool. So now my icons are actually updated. They're still 40 pixels, but now they have the white space that they should have. And this should be 40 pixels too, 40 by 40. And then constraint proportions. There you go. Okay, baby. Okay. Okay, now let's see the spacing here. Apparently this is, it should be 40 by 690. So all these should be from top 690. 690, and then probably this should be 40 from the left. 40 from the left, and then I'm going to leave it there. Right now, it doesn't have to be perfect, but at least it's somewhere there, near perfect. Okay, cool. This is just for demo purpose, but you see the capabilities of actually putting everything together in the nice, perfect pixel that you want to. Okay, hold on. Let me just check the chat real quick. Can you place a template in the background? Can we use a sketch? You need a web server running. So for testing, no, you don't need a web server. You can just test it on your browser, and it exports everything as HTML. So no, but obviously for putting it out there in the world, you will need a hosting. This is creating pretty much just like a static website. So you don't need any server or anything, at least locally. Go Pablo, just pop in right now to see who's used for. Can you place a template in the background? Um, I don't understand what you mean by template on the background. Please elaborate, Nate, because I don't understand what you mean. Be back. You need a web server. Can we export all the artboard? So can you export all the artboard? You could export the whole thing, but it will export as an image, and you need to export each element. There's no hype sketch plugin. No, you will have to do it manually until they make a sketch plugin. Probably you will be able to do it, but right now you have to export each element individually and then import it here. So no, sorry about that. It's okay. It's not that hard. It's okay. Can place it there? Can you use? Okay, okay, cool. So let's continue. Those were the all the comments. Okay, so now let's preview this. So if we preview this, you're going to see that my elements are here. You see how the elements are kind of floating there? And the thing is that right now, there's actually my element, which is 1024 by 768, is here. This is my actual thing. But I want it to be like fluid. I want this to pin over here, and I want these elements to pin over here, and I want them to, whenever I move the size of the browser, I want them to be there, you know? That's probably something that you will like. So I'm going to go back, and first thing that I want to do is make my scene. I wanted to make it fluid, that it has a width and a height here, but I also wanted to have a scale in the browser. So I just turn this on the scene, and I'm going to say that the scale and on the height and on the width, I'm going to say that it's 100%. It takes 100% of my browser. So now when I export this, then it's going to look like this. It's still not exactly what I wanted, right? But if I were to do this, see how the arrow at least is pinned to the left? Okay, we're getting there. The thing is that now I need to edit these elements. The actual elements, I need to pin them. This is pretty similar to how you will pin stuff on auto layout, or how you pin stuff on Sketch with the positioning stuff. So over here you will see these tools, and it's pretty nice because it gives you a preview of what will happen. Right now it's pinned to the top by default, top left, just pretty much just like Sketch. It pins it to the top and to the left. I want to turn this off, and I want to pin it to the bottom. The same to this one. I want to stop pinning to the top and start pinning it to the bottom. And I'm going to do the same with this one, but pinning to the top, sorry, to the bottom and to the right. See how now it's previewing what's going to happen? Pretty nice, my friends. Pretty nice. Okay, let's preview it. Oh, yeah. Look at that. How cool is that? Now my camera is pinned to the bottom. My icons are pinned to the bottom. If I resize my browser, those elements are there. And if I zoom, you will see it says BG, baby. And we're in a browser. I don't know. Is it? I don't know how. Are you getting excited with me? Because I am. This is whenever I show this, I am like, can you believe this? You have the power. So the question is, can you use a JPEG on the background? Yeah, you can use that. You can use anything on the background. You can put anything. You just put an image, and then you just say that it pins to the top, left, right, bottom, and then it expands, and you can do that. So yes, to your question, can you use an image as a background image? Yes, you can. It will be just one layer. By the way, talking about layers, over here, here are the scenes, but over here, you will see every layer that you have been adding, you will see it here. And then over here, you will see a timeline, baby. And we're gonna get into the timeline later, but this is where you control your elements, and then this is where you animate them. So anyway, just as this is how you move elements backwards and forward, depending where you want them. Okay, and you can turn them off. You can just like turn the visibility on and off, and you can also lock them, and also change the properties of your animation over here. It's actually pretty similar to Principle, actually. If you see it, pretty similar to Principle. Okay, cool. So, okay, what is next? Next is we just went to important SVG. Let's add interactions. let's add an interaction, baby. So to add an interaction, I'm going to actually create a button. And let me, one thing that you can do, if you want to just do a quick prototype, you can copy paste stuff from Sketch, by the way. I do not recommend this, because when you copy paste, you paste it and it looks good, but if you zoom in, you will see that this is pixels. So I don't recommend it for production. Just for quick prototyping, you can do that. This is a quick prototype, but I just want to show interaction. So just for now, I'm going to do this. If you want to add interactions, you go over here to the little hand, because you click on it and you tap. And then here you're going to see the actions. So the action, you can add an on mouse click, on mouse down, on mouse up, on mouse over, on drag, on mouse out, all that stuff. Let's say that on mouse click, something happens. Let's say that on mouse click, we go to the next scene. And then let me just create a new scene. Here, I press the plus button and I add a new scene. So I'm going to call it scene 2. And my first one, I'm going to call it home. Oh my God, home. There you go. And I'm going to say that on click, jump to scene, and let's say that it jumps to the next scene. But you can select any scene that you want. So you can, the first scene, last scene, or you can go to a specific scene. Right now we only have 2 scenes, so we only see these 2. But if I were to add more scenes, you will be able to select them here. And this is pretty useful because then you can go to another, like artboard, another scene. And let's say that it transitions, and it transitions from right to left. So it pushes, pow. And then the duration, say that a duration is going to be 0.7. And that's it. Those are the only transitions that allows you to add, which I wish there was more freedom for this, but you will find that this is good enough for creating a simple web app. Okay, so push right to left, and let's preview this. And actually, before previewing, let's put an element over here so we can actually see how that something happened, you know. So let's just put an element here, so we can see this moving. Okay, let's preview it. And sorry, over here, let me open it here. And now you see that this is not, okay, whatever. I click it and voila. The next scene comes from the right, as I was seeing before. Number one, I want this to be in the center. So remember, this is the same with pinning. I can say that it doesn't pin anywhere, or I can say that it pins to everything. And now it will be center, so we can see it here. So now, see how now it's center? So if I were to do this, it's always in the center because it's respecting the padding from the top, from the left, from the bottom. Okay, so now preview it. Boom, it animates. Oh, how cool is that? Okay, cool. So that's it. That's adding interactions. You can add a lot of interactions here, and you can add multiple interactions to, for example, to mouse click. You can say that on mouse click, it does something else. For example, let's say that I don't know, a sound plays. So let's add a sound. It plays a sound, and I'm going to select a sound. So I'm going to add an audio file. And I actually already have some sounds here. These are from Facebook, the Facebook Sound Kit for prototyping. I'm going to leave a link for that, but you can just like Google Facebook Sound Prototype, and you're going to find these. I'm going to say this one, button 3. So now it should play a sound when I click it. So let's preview it. Oh, let me turn on the volume. Apparently my volume is off. So let's preview it again. Do you hear that? The sound is really low. Let's preview it again. I'm going to get close to the micro. Oh yeah. Hopefully you heard that. Actually, let me just remove the action that it jumps to scene. I'm going to remove it, and I'm just going to keep playing the sound, so just for demo purposes. Cool. Pretty cool. Pretty simple, but pretty powerful. Okay, cool. So let me see. If you have any questions, by the way, just leave them on the chat. So do you have any questions? Please let me know. Where are you? It's cool. Mamma mia, wonderful. Like Illustrator when you trace to place elements or básicamente la pregunta es si puedes poner un. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's move on. Next thing, that was adding interactions. Let's move on to the next thing where let's, you are all here for this. Let's make an animation. So before making an animation, this is what I wanted to do. I click on this and then something grows, and then I click on this and then it changes the color. So let's actually, I'm going to just replicate these elements over there, okay? So the first thing I'm going to say, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it over here. I'm going to put them over here, and I'm going to create those elements that I wanted to. So I'm going to create a rectangle that is kind of like a loader. Okay, so I'm going to put them over here, and then I'm going to put this over here. Just for demo purposes, okay, guys? And then, no, I kind of liked it like that. Oh my God, designers can never make their minds. Oh my God. Oh man. Okay. Okay, that's it. Let me Command C, Command V, and then I'm just going to make this a little bit darker. I'm going to change the color of this just so we can see it. It's kind of like a loader. And actually, I'm going to just copy this color. There you go. So this is a rectangle. All these two rectangles, I created them here on Hype, which is pretty useful because they're vector. These are not vector. I just pasted them from, copy pasted them from Sketch, and that's why you see them pixelated. Anyway, so I have this one. I'm going to call it loader here on the layers list. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. And then I'm going to say this is background. La la la, background. And then I'm going to put another element, another rectangle. And this is the rectangle that is going to change color when I click. Okay, so let's make it the same size. And let's remove this. There you go. Okay, cool. So I want that when I click on this, I want this to grow. I want this to like go from this to this. Okay, so to create an animation, you hit this, you go over here to the timeline, and then you're going to see this little button, well, this big red button. That means to record. Once you start recording something, then it's listening to everything that you're doing, and then it saves everything as an animation, as different keyframes on your timeline. So for example, here in the beginning, I'm going to say that this, I'm going to start recording, and right now, the width of it, oh, you know what? I'm going to stop the recording. Something that I forgot to do. I want my transform origin. It usually is 50%, 50%. That means that my transform origin is right there on the center. But I want my transform origin to actually start from the left. That means that my Y offset should be 0 because it's not offset on the Y. So it starts from hold on, no, idiot. No, this is 50% and then my X offset. Sorry, my X offset should be 0 because it starts from the left. And that way, whenever I make it like this, it will be offsetting from the left, like that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to start recording, and I'm going to say that at second 1, at the first second, this will grow to the all the way here. There you go. Right? Yes, all the way there. So now if I play it, you will see this is my animation. So I play it and I see it in 1 second, it gets there. So, okay, so I stopped recording. And if I want to edit any keyframe, you're going to see that those keyframes are over here in the bottom. You see those keyframes? You can move them around, make them a little bit bigger. You can add multiple keyframes. So for example, let's say, oh, and by the way, you can also control the curve of each keyframe by going here, double clicking, and then saying ease in, ease out. You can say it bouncy. Ease in, ease out sounds good for me right now. That's the default. I like that. But if you want to change that, you can just go there. Just click on this. This is the animation for the loader and all the parameters that have been, the properties that have been changed with the animation. So now if I press the preview, the animation will just start. You see how it just started? And by the way, I need to, first thing, I'm going to actually group all of these. So it's Command Option G, and I grouped everything. And now that it's grouped, I'm actually going to put it here, the group of these elements, I wanted to put it in the center. That way, I always have all my elements here on the center. Anyway, you see, I'm going to refresh this, and you see that it just starts animating right away. Boom, it animates. So that's great. So sometimes that's all you need. Animation starts right away, but sometimes you actually need your animation to start at a certain point or being triggered by an interaction. So you can add timeline actions. Timeline actions. You can add actions to buttons, to elements, but you can also add actions to the timeline. So for example, here, I want that on frame 0, at second 0, I'm going to go over here on the timeline actions. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to press the plus button, and then here it's asking me what kind of action I want to add. You see that it added a keyframe here, and I want to say that it pauses the timeline. It pauses the timeline. What timeline am I doing? Main timeline. This right now we are in the main timeline. I'm going to explain about multiple timelines later. Don't worry about that right now. Let's preview it now. Now, if we preview it, you see that the animation is just stopped. It's paused because we added an action timeline to the timeline. Okay, so that's great. Now, how do I get the timeline to start? Well, we just add an interaction. Let's say that this button, I'm going to add an interaction to it. And right now, on mouse click, I'm going to say that I'm going to add another interaction to it. And then the action is going to say that it continues the timeline. What timeline? Main timeline. So now if I preview it, it's there. And when I click, boom, the timeline just plays. Let me see the chat. By the way, you can send emojis to say, oh my God. That's about API mobile app inside the website. What about API like a Google map inside the website? I don't know, man. Find it out. There's a widget right there. Probably you can put it there. But it might be possible. You can put JavaScript, you can put HTML widgets. I never tried this, but you should try it out. Wow, we show this to my team. Okay, cool. I don't know, there's a problem on my side. It's pixelated. What is pixelated? This, yeah, it's pixelated because I just copied it and pasted them from Sketch. Like I told you, when you copy paste stuff from Sketch, it will be pixelated. So but this is just for demo purposes, okay? Okay, cool. So that's it. That's controlling a timeline, adding animations, really basic animations, and also controlling the timeline with actions. And also, we added timeline actions here. Okay, so you can control the timeline. You can say pause timeline. You can play a sound in a specific frame of the timeline. You can even open a URL. A lot of things you can do when something happens in the timeline, when you reach a certain point in the timeline. Now, let's continue doing another thing where we add another timeline. So right now, we've just been playing around with the main timeline. Let's add a new timeline where the color of this thing changes. So I'm going to go and I'm going to here on where it says main timeline, I'm going to say new timeline. And I'm going to say color changes. And now on the new timeline, I can make other changes, other animations. As you will see, the animation that I had before, it's not there because now I'm starting, like it's almost like a new animation inside my scene. So here I want that this little guy, I'm going to start recording an animation, and then I'm going to say that at second 1, I'm going to change the color of it. So instead of gray, it's going to change to a beautiful blue, purple, I don't know what color is this. Yeah, it should be blue. And now I'm going to stop the animation, and now I should see that it goes from gray to blue, gray to blue. Really cool stuff, right? Okay, so now I'm going to and right now we're in the timeline that is called color changes. So I can go back to my main timeline, and I want to see that If I preview it, you will see that that doesn't start. Timelines that you add to your main timeline, multiple timelines, they don't start automatically. You have to trigger them. So to trigger them, I will add another interaction to this, and I'm going to say that on click, I'm going to say that it starts a timeline, and instead of main timeline, I'm going to say that the color changes. Sorry, the timeline that is called color changes. Okay, so now if I preview it, this one makes this grow, and this one changes the color because it's triggering a different timeline. How cool is that? How cool is that, my friends? Okay, that's it. You can go. You can go home and just like start building stuff with this. With this knowledge is enough for you to start building really cool stuff. But there's more. There's way more. Okay, so those were the basics of adding animations, adding timelines, adding actions to the timeline. And let's see if you have any questions over here. Connection issues. No, I'm running this on HD. So for connection issues, because my internet is slow, I have 720. That's the maximum definition that I can stream. What's the best way to use scenes? I missed that. Scenes are pretty much just like different. You can use scenes as different pages, for example. So, for example, one scene could be, I don't know, your home screen. Another scene could be your about page. Another scene could be a project in your portfolio. I don't know. Every scene is a different page. So hopefully that helps you. Or it could be like an animation or a movie. A different scene is a different thing that is happening, right? So it's pretty much you can, if you're doing animations, a scene is suddenly you change your camera to a different viewpoint. You can do that too. That will be a good use of a scene. Okay, let's go back over here. So more stuff that I wanted to show you. So okay, multiple timelines, fluid layout. We already did that. We already pinned stuff. Let me show you something else. I pinned stuff, but what about a background like this? Like this, let me just make it a little bit darker so you can see. What about something that grows, that is 100%? Make this wide so we can see it. What if you want to make like a, I don't know, like a navigation that grows from left to right to 100%? You can also use the pinning, but you can also do make it that it also grows. So for example, here I'm going to do a rectangle. I'm going to here put it on the top, and let's say that this is a navigation bar that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to remove the border. It always adds a border. I wish it didn't. And there you go. Let's make it the width of everything. Okay, cool. Let's change the color. A dark color. And now I'm going to go to my pinning, to my metrics. And yes, it's pinning to the left, to the top. I'm also going to add that it pins to the right. And then here, you'll see that inside, there's also other these arrows. And these will tell you if it stretches. So right now, it's going to stretch from left to right. The width is going to stretch. So if I go over here, now you see how the rectangle on the top is like stretching. If I were to turn that off, if I didn't have that on, it will be a little bit different. See how it doesn't stretch? It doesn't, it gets to a maximum width and that's it. So, but if I turn on the stretching, then I see it differently. Now it stretches across my, my canvas, my browser, which is pretty cool, guys. Okay, cool. So that's it. That's about pinning and stretching. Let me see if you guys have any more questions. Just quickly. Okay, bro, you're doing a great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Can you string them together to do like a... Would you recommend this over Framer? I don't know. It's different. I would say Framer. Framer is great. it's a great design tool. It's a great, very comprehensive. You can use JavaScript on it, and it's like if you like coding, I would say keep using Framer. Uh, but at the end of the day, what Framer gives you, it's still a prototype. This thing, it could be just a prototype, but if you wanted to, you can host this too, and you can use this as your final product too, if it is a simple thing. So, and that it all depends on what you need. Uh, okay, now okay, bro, you're doing great. Okay, would you recommend this over front? What's the best way to use these things? Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next thing. So I wanted to show you something else, pinning stuff, adding symbols. So something that makes this really powerful too is that you can add symbols too. So symbols that you're going to be reusing across your document. So for example, a button, anything. So let's say that we have a logo. I don't know. Let's say that we have a logo we're going to be using, and right now let's say that the logo is just text, but probably you will be more creative in creating a logo that looks much better than just text. But let's say that that's it. That's all our capabilities gave us. My creative capabilities. So it's a logo. And now I can say this, it's a symbol. So I can create this as a new symbol from selection. There you go. And now it's a symbol. So if I want to reuse it, let's Command C, Command V. If I change it over here, and if I change the color of it, for example, let's say that we change it to, instead of white, we change it to like a yellow. We change it to yellow, and then it changes wherever I was using that symbol. So over here, you will see since it's a symbol, the color also changed. So pretty cool. It doesn't have text instances. So if it is text in a symbol, it would you change the text and it would change everywhere else where you change it. That's like text. So now, see, it changes over here too. So it has its limitations. It's not as good as having some overrides like you would do on what do you call it, on Sketch, but it's useful for at least for graphic elements. But stuff that has text that you want to have dynamic text, I wouldn't recommend it. If you want, but if you want to have like a style sheet, like for text or for anything, you can add a style sheet. So let's say that we add a text element here. And let's say that we have it over here, and let's actually copy it from over here. And it's this one, believe the hype. So I'm going to just copy the text, and I'm going to go over here. I'm going to paste it. And if you copy paste text from Sketch, it will actually copy the style. So if I were to click here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and you see this little button here, the edit button. You click here, and you're going to see that it actually it's a paragraph with a style inside it. And all of this is in line, so it's not really a style sheet. But you could do that. You could just copy paste text from Sketch and put it here, and it will respect your style. And then you can change it here. So instead of 40 pixels, if I want it to be 32 pixels, you can change that here too. But this is inline. It's not really a style sheet. So I would just like go back and just like change all of this. All of this is like basic HTML. And I'm going to change it to just like, I don't know, I'm going to change it back to just a basic paragraph. So if you know basic HTML, you will see that this is just a basic paragraph, right? It's a P tag, and inside we have the thing that is called believe hype, and then the P ends. I'm actually going to make it an H1. This should be an H1. This should be a header. There you go. So this already has some basic styling on your headers. So there you go. You can use those. But what if you want to have your own style sheet? You can use your own style sheet. So I'm going to open Sublime. I don't know this. You can use whatever text editor you like to use. I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to let's save this as inside my hype demo. I'm going to call it style. Oh, no, sorry. A style, this should be called style.css. There you go. Now it's a style CSS and it respects inside Sublime. It respects it as a CSS style sheet. And what I can start doing is over here on Sketch, I'm actually going to copy the CSS attributes. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say H1. It starts and then I paste my styles. And there you go. Now I have my basic styles from Sketch. I just copied pasted them. I'm going to put this here. Don't criticize my coding abilities because I'm terrible, but this is the most basic stuff that you can do. Okay, so there you go. I just copied the CSS attributes from Sketch. It's pretty useful, and I have it here. I'm going to save this, and now here on Hype, I want to import that that style sheet. So what I can do is go to my Hype demo, and that style sheet that I just created called Style CSS, I'm going to put it as one of my assets, and there you go. So right now, this should be respecting my, it's pretty much, I'm pretty sure it's respecting my CSS because it's an H1. I hope so. It is, right? Let's see if it actually changes. Hold on. So let's change instead of 42. Let's say that it's only 22 pixels, the font size. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back here. It says that it was updated. Apparently, it's not respecting my style. Why are you not respecting my style, bro? Is it not an H1? Yeah, it is an H1. What did I do? Come on, guys. Tell me, what did I do wrong? Am I doing something wrong? What is going on here? No. Okay. Come on. On the comments, tell me, what am I doing wrong? Nate Galloway, you inline styles. Yes, I know. We're doing a style sheet now, bro. You're gonna love this. You're going to love that you're going to add a style CSS. Okay, it's not working for me. I don't know why why is it not working? Okay, I'm going to add a class actually. I'm going to say that headline. Probably a class will work. I don't know why is it not working. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say that this thing is class equals headline. And there you go. It's not respecting my stuff. Why are you not respecting my things? This is really weird. I'm sorry, guys. This is really weird. It should be respecting my CSS style, and it's not. What a disappointment. What a disappointment right now. What am I doing wrong? Linking the style sheet, is that done just by dragging into assets? Maybe next. Yes. Right now, that style sheet is being added, and it's being added here to my sketch file. So if oh, I see what's going on. So right now it's not rendering here, but it should be rendering on my, let's say that I change it to 62, 52. Let's save this. Over here, it's updated. Let me preview it here, and it's not respecting. Anyway, I'm going to investigate this, but it should be respecting my style sheet. I'm going to actually open another one, the Nama Sketch app. Probably I'm doing something wrong. So over here, this guy over here, what am I doing wrong? H1, yeah, class title. Yes, H1. And then over here, let me see. There's probably something that I'm doing wrong that I'm not understanding. Let's see. It could be the font family. Probably it's not respecting the font family because I don't have it in my project. Probably that's what it is. It's not what it is. I don't know what's going on, guys. I don't know what's going on. And I'm sorry about that. It should be respecting my Okay, I'm going to jump on to the next thing. I don't know why it's not working. It should be working. But seriously, this let me show it here on this project because on this project it's working and not on that one. So I'm going to go to Nama Sketch app, and then here I have this thing, this element, and then here h1 class title. So the h1 has a style, and if I change it over here on my style sheet, let's say that I go to my h1 and instead of 50 pixels, I want to make it 64, really big. 64, I save it and I go back to my file. It's going to say that it's updated, and now it should be updated on over here. Oh, I know what's going on. I remember now. You need to turn something on. Oh my God, this is really annoying. I'm really sorry, guys. You need to turn this off. It says advanced options and it says something protect from external styles. I need to turn that off. There you go. That was a problem. That was a problem. You need to turn that off so it doesn't protect from external styles. Oh my God, that is so annoying. I'm so sorry, guys. Like I think like went like 10 minutes over this. Okay, once you turn that off, now you can go to your style sheet. And then over here on my style sheet, I'm going to close this one. Right now, instead of 52, I think it was 40 pixels. I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to go back to my Hive file. And then it should update. And see how now it updates. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, oh my God, I was going crazy over this. You need to turn this off, the protect from external styles. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was seriously going crazy over here. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. The idea is that you can add a style sheet, any styles, like as you saw on my other project, you can add H1, P, a paragraph, H2, H3, any other classes that you want to add. You just create your style sheet and then you can reference them from your document here. And that's optional. You don't have to do that. You can just use their design tools and then use like the design tools and just start editing, just like we did here. We can just use this thing and then change the color and change the typography right here. You don't have to use the style sheets. But if you like using a style sheet, you can do that. Okay, moving on to the next thing. Oh my God, after half an hour just trying to do that, I'm so sorry. Okay, cool. Okay, so responsive breakpoints. Okay, this is one of the last things that I'm pretty sure you're really excited to know. You can add multiple breakpoints to the same thing. So let's say over here, you go over here to your scene, and then you're going to say that it says add new layout. Right now, we only have one, but if you click on add new layout, you can select from multiple layouts or you can select the breakpoint that you want. Let's create one for iPhone. And there you go. Now I have a new layout, and you have to pretty much just like do everything again. So you have to redesign. It's kind of annoying to be honest, but once you do it, then it's great. But there you go. Now you can customize your layout to be different on iPhone or on other elements from mobile or from other elements. So over here, I want to actually, all these elements should probably be collapsing. So I can just collapse them and I can make my group to be the size of all of this. So now in the on this breakpoint, on mobile breakpoint, let me zoom in so we can see. On mobile breakpoint, my design will change like that. So now let's preview it. It's working like that on mobile, on web. And then once it gets around here, my order changes. See that? And you can change where does it break, where does it start. Probably you want it to start at 280, probably a little bit not as there you go. Anyway, you can play around with those things, but you can add multiple breakpoints, and it's pretty useful. That's it. That's adding multiple breakpoints, and you can navigate through the different breakpoints here and make the changes that you need to make. I'm actually going to delete this. I don't need this breakpoint. Delete the breakpoint. Yes. Okay. So moving on to the next thing. Physics. This is the last thing that we're going to do. Let me see if you have any questions before we begin. Are you coming to Mexico tomorrow? Gustavo, yes. To anyone that is in Guadalajara, I'm going to go to Mexico tomorrow. I'm taking a flight tonight, and I'm going to be over there. See you tomorrow. Can you add multiple breakpoints? Can you add CSS breakpoints? Yes. Can you add CSS breakpoints with CSS animations? Yes. You can totally do that too. I actually on Namasketch, I totally did that. Let me actually open Namasketch so you can see it. Open recent Namasketch app. And then here on the Namasketch app, I'm going to go to my Sublime thing, and you will see that they added multiple breakpoints here. So, well, I added one breakpoint here. I added this breakpoint that at 520, all of these changes happen. And they were pretty basic changes, like the text changed its size and some classes changed its size too. But you can get as creative as you want on your breakpoints. So you can add multiple breakpoints because it's a style sheet. So it will respect that because at the end, it's just HTML. So if you see this, for example, here I have this all looks good. And then around this breakpoint, see how the size change? That's because I created that breakpoint on my CSS. So you can add multiple breakpoints on your CSS style sheet. Okay, cool. So I don't see any more questions. Important on the fonts, beautiful. Beauty to go up. Yeah, thank you so much for trying to help me on that thing with the CSS. That was crazy that was happening, and I'm so sorry. That was annoying. Okay, so last thing I want to show you is physics. For physics, I'm actually going to just going to put this. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this, and if you want to play around with this file, it's horrible. This file is horrible, but if you want to play around with this file, just go to the Dropbox link and you will be able to play with it. But I'm going to, on a new scene, I'm going to show you physics. So physics, pretty fun, my friends. So you can add physics to any element. And let's actually add just like an ellipse, it's a little circle here. Let's put a little circle here. Let's make it a perfect circle. So, and now, there you go. If I preview this, by the way, you saw that I changed the scene to the top. That way it will load. That's the first scene that will load. That's it. It's static, whatever. But now, if I add physics to it, over here on this tab, I can, right now it's inactive, but I can say, hey, make it dynamic, baby. Dynamic. And it has some stuff that you can change, but let's see the defaults. And it falls. It has gravity on it. Let's reload that. See how? And you can change this by how dense it is, the friction that it has. Let's say that it's not as dense. So let's preview it. Now it should move a little bit slower. But if you want it to be a little bit denser, it should be faster because it should fall. I don't know. Play around with that. But let's actually make this not inactive, but I want it to be static. And when it's static, that means that it's also it also has physics, but it doesn't fall down. So now, if I preview this, see how this bounced? Because this is stopping this from falling because it's acting as a static element. Did I just blow your mind? Let's rewind that. Let's reload that. Bow! It bounces. So now I can change the bounciness of this. Let's make it way bouncier. Bow! It's bouncing super high. Oh my God, it's even bouncing more. Okay, so probably not too much. Should be like that. And then let's add multiple of these guys. Let's command C, command V. Let's put this one, but let's say that it's a little bit smaller. Let's put it over here. Let's add another one. Probably this one will fall on top of this. Let's preview it. And bow! How cool is that? Yeah, so just imagine this. You can make interactions with this. You can, for example, I can make this, I can add a drag interaction. So I'm going to say that this rectangle, I'm going to add, I'm going to say that it controls the element position. So now it on drag, I can drag it and actually make it do stuff like that. Bow! Oh, okay, apparently I didn't hit it. Anyway, you get the idea. Oh, I didn't catch it. Let's reload it. Oh, there you go. Oh my God. You can make games with this thing. Bow. Anyway, so play around with this because it's pretty fun and it's pretty powerful. And if you want to create really advanced prototypes, you can do it with this little app. And I would say that I would say it's pretty cool. It takes more time to create prototypes with this than with other tools that are just made for prototyping. I will say that because it's a little more complex. It has more stuff, and whenever an app they add more and more stuff, yes, it's more powerful, but it's harder to use too. So I would say for simple prototypes where you're just like connecting one screen with another, I wouldn't recommend this prototyping tool for that. This is more when you want a prototype where you need to add a video or where you need to add audio or physics like this, where your prototype is way more complex. I would say yes, use this thing because it's really easy to like start using. Look at that. Oh my God, pretty cool. Let's add another one. Let's add another one, but this one, let's make this a wall. So let's rotate it. Sorry, I need to have fun with this. So let's rotate it. So now we have a wall over here. So this wall is going to be just like that. So now it should be. Let's make another one. Oops. Let's make another one. So now these elements will be bouncing, but they will be boxed. So they won't go anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Let's put multiple balls. Balls, balls, balls. Balls, balls, balls. Multiple balls. Lots of balls. Let's change the colors of our balls. This sounds very dirty, and I'm sorry, but they are balls at the end. Well, circles. Let's call them circles so it's not as dirty. There you go. It's not dirty. Your mind is what's dirty. Okay, cool. Let's make more. Let's. I'm sorry. I just want this to like a bounce ball. I don't know, the bouncing ball box. There you go. And let's preview this. Let's see what happens. Oh my God. And we can drag these, by the way. Oh, oh my God. Where did they go? I don't know. Oh, there you go. They're back. How cool is this? I want to see your mind exploded. Show the code at the end. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I didn't show you this. You can export this as HTML5. Once you're ready, you can go to File, Export as HTML5, and then you can go to a folder. It gives you some compatibility things. So be aware of those things. It doesn't compatible with Internet Explorer 8 and stuff like that. I'm just going to put it here, Hype Demo, and I'm going to go back to my browser. And here in my browser, it gives you this thing. I'm going to create a new folder, just HTML, and I'm going to put my files in there. So here on my HTML folder, you will see this thing. You could call it index if you want, index.html. That will be your home site. And then it creates this folder with all the things that you need to play this thing. So your CSS, your images, and then it creates a JavaScript. So you can open this, your JavaScript, and it's a big code. So that's the JavaScript that it creates. Another one that is from Hype, and then also the index. So the index is this. This is what you will probably put on your website. This HTML plus this folder with all the assets. And that's it. And whatever else that you're referencing from your site, you will need to put it on your website too. I don't know, guys, but this is pretty powerful. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to stop recording this in a second. Hopefully this was helpful for you. This is an app that I think again, it's pretty powerful and it's pretty cool. Let's try Keyshape. I make SVG animations very easily. Yeah, I'm not going to try that right now, but thank you for the recommendation. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. Cool. Please, if you have questions about Hype or about my process on using this, please ask them now before I go. Can you interact with phone tilt? That's a good question. Yes, you can interact with phone tilt. Nate, you can totally do that. That's possible. That's very awesome. What powerful, so cool. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. And yeah, so Jane, I showed the code, so hopefully that was good. And that's it, my friends. Hopefully you found that helpful, and I will try Keyshape next time. Sorry, Florian, but I just this is not related to hype. Um, that's it, guys. Hopefully you found this useful. And to be honest, it was kind of a secret using this app because I didn't talk about this too much. I didn't use it too much, to be honest, either, because I don't get to need it that much because I don't create prototypes that need to be that complex. But if you have an idea that is brewing in your mind and you're like, how am I going to be able to do that? How am I going to be able to, I don't know, I will need a developer to do this thing. And probably Hype will help you with those projects that you have in your mind and you weren't able to create. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much, guys. And see you on the next one. Yeah, a sketch plugin will be really awesome. Thank you so much, guys. And hopefully this app is useful to you. Try it out, and bye-bye. And okay. Yeah, oh, Florian, no worries. Just like telling you, I will try it. I will try Keyshape in a different video, uh, but not right now. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, link Dropbox. You can play around with this thing. Bye-bye. Okay, how do I stop this? Stop.